Okay, we're going to be talking about graphing parabolas, and we have just some basic shapes of parabolas, and that's what we're going to discuss first here. And these are what we call shape equations, or basic shapes, where the vertex of the parabola is at 0, 0. And you can always check this out by using just the table of values. Let's take a look at this first one. This is y equals x squared, so if I just make a table of values, when x is 0, 0 squared is 0. When x is 1, 1 squared is 1. When x is negative 1, negative 1 squared is 1. When x is 2, 2 squared is 4. And when x is negative 2 squared is 4. So I can just graph these 5 points and I'll get a pretty good idea of what the parabola looks like. So what we have here is 0, 0. And then when x is 1, y is 1, so I go over 1, up 1. Negative 1, this is the horizontal, I go to the left 1, up 1. When x is 2, I go to the right 2, up 4. And when x is negative 2, I go to the left 2, up 4. And those are my 5 points, and I can graph those, and I get a pretty good idea of the shape of the parabola. I usually indicate arrows here, or put arrows there to indicate that it's going up and up and up. Okay? Now the domain of that parabola are all the x values, and the range are all the y values. So the domain, it keeps going up and up, so it's from negative infinity to positive infinity, but the range will be from 0, including 0, up to infinity, because that's the y values. And we'll discuss that in detail more a little bit later, so that's domain and range. Okay, so that's pretty easy. Let's take a look at another one. How about when x equals negative, or I'm sorry, when y equals negative x squared? Well, again, I'll try some values, and I'll use the same x values. I'm just going to go at the vertex, and then 1 to the left and right, and 2 to the left and right of the vertex. Or right and left, excuse me. Okay? So when x is 0, 0 squared is 0. When x is 1, 1 squared is 1, but I have a negative, so that's going to make it negative. And remember, since when we square a number, we get a positive. If we put a negative, all these values would be negative. So negative 1 squared is 1, negative times 1 is negative 1. 2 squared is 4, a negative 4. And then negative 2 squared is also 4, but with a negative makes it negative 4. So again, I start at my origin, which is 0, 0. And I go over 1, down 1. And this is left 1, down 1. Over 2, down 4. Left 2, down 4. And then I plot my points, and there's your y equals negative x squared. Okay, y equals 2x squared. So what I did was I started with some table of values. And again, 0, 0. And then when x is 1, 1 squared is 1 times 2 is 2. Negative 1 squared is 1 times 2 is 2. 2 squared is 4, but 2 times 4 is 8. And negative 2 squared is 4. 2 times 4 is 8. So we all have positives because when we square something, it's positive. So these are our points. So again, I started my origin 0, 0. I go 1 to the right, up 2, 1 to the left. This is the horizontal move. 1 to the left, up 2, 2 to the right, 1, 2, and up 8. Now, I didn't have enough room on my graph, so I just extended it with a ruler and some lines here to get an idea. You could do that if you're using a graph and you don't have quite enough space. You could extend it a little bit and get some points in there. And negative 2, 1, 2, and up 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I had to extend it to get an idea of the shape. Now notice that when we put a 2 in front of this parabola, rather than x squared, the 2 makes it a little bit skinnier. And what we do is we say that the 2 stretches it vertically. Stretches it vertically. Okay? So these are all basic shape equations, and you're going to be familiar with these values because you're going to use them over and over when we graph parabolas that have a vertex that's not 0, 0. All these parabolas, the vertex is at 0, 0. All right, let's take a look at another example. Y equals negative 2x squared. So again, remember, when we square anything, it's going to be positive. So if I put a negative in front of positive, I will get a negative. So all my values, my y values, my vertical values will be negative. So I can put 0 in. 0 squared is 0. 2 times 0 is 0. So 0, 0 is my vertex. Then I can go 1. 1 squared is 1 times negative 2 is negative 2. Negative 1 squared is also 1 times negative 2 is negative 2. 2 squared is 4 times negative 2 is negative 8. And negative 2 squared is 4 times negative 2 is also negative 8. So again, my vertex is at 0, 0. So I go 1 to the right, and then this is negative y is negative 2, so that means I'm going to go down 2. This is my vertical. So my horizontal move is positive 1, my vertical move is negative 2. Horizontal move is negative 1 or 1 to the left and down 2. Horizontal move is positive 2, vertical move is negative 8, so I go down 8. And again, I had to extend this graph a little bit. So I just used a ruler to extend the horizontal line and drew some, used a ruler to extend the vertical line, and then I also used a ruler to write some extended horizontal lines. Okay? So 0, 0, over 1, down 1, over 2, down 8, back 1, down, over 1, down 2, over 2, down 8, over or left negative 1, down 2, left negative 2, down 8. So you can see your points there. So you should be familiar with these basic shapes because they're going to be very helpful when we graph parabolas with different vertex positions. All right, over here, this is y equals 1/2 x squared. So again, when x is 0, y is 0. Okay, but this is a basic shape, and we're going to be shifting these vertexes around in a moment. Okay, and so when x is 0, y is 0. When x is 1, 1 squared is 1. 1/2 of 1 is 1/2. When x is negative 1, negative 1 squared is 1/2. Negative 1 squared is 1. 1/2 of 1 is 1/2. When x is 2, 2 squared is 4, but half of 4 is 2. When x is negative 2, negative 2 squared is 4, and 1/2 of 4 is also 2. And remember, whenever we square a number, it's going to be a positive, so all these signs will be positive. And then I can go a little bit farther on this one if I want, because when we plot these points, we go over 1, up 1/2, back 1, up 1/2, over 2, up 2, and back or left 2, up 2, and we just have these points. And actually we can get another point on this graph. So if I went over 3, what's 3 squared? 3 squared is 9. 9 over 2 is 9/2 or 4.5. So actually I could go over 3, up 4.5, and I could go back 3 also, up 4.5. So you can get an extra point there. It's not really necessary, but you could do that, get a bit of shape, and then you just connect all these. And there's your y equals 1/2 x squared, basic shape. And the last one, y equals negative 1/2 x squared. Again, whenever we square anything, it'll be positive, so all these numbers will have a negative in front of them, so all they're going to be negative. They'll be the same as these. 0, when x is 0, that's 0. When x is 1, 1 squared is 1, negative 1/2 times 1 is negative 1/2. When x squared is negative 1, negative 1 squared is 1, times negative 1/2 is negative 1/2. When x is 2, x squared is 4, minus 1/2 of 4 is negative 2, and when x is negative 2 squared is 4, and 1/2 of 4 is negative 2. 1/2 of negative 1/2 times 4 is negative 2. So again, this is my horizontal, and my vertical moves from the 0, 0, so I'm going to go 0, 0, to the right 1, down 1/2, to the left 1, down 1/2, to the right 2, down 2, to the left 2, down 2. And then I could also use the 3, 4.5, and negative 3, 4.5, and there's some points. So those are your basic shapes. So you want to be very familiar with those 6 basic shapes. And we use these a lot to study our parabolas at different vertex. Okay? And our next video will be dealing with parabolas with a vertex other than 0, 0. Every one of these parabolas of vertex is at 0, 0. But you see how the shape is basically relative to the 0, 0. So these moves are all relative to 0, 0.